and spiritual relationship with the land and water.
Thank you so much, Karen. We so appreciate that. And now we're going to jump to our amazing national anthem being sung by Miss Whitney Houston.
Oh, say, can you
Oh, that's not her.
see thy
That's
dawn's early light? What so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
okay. So clearly
Okay.
that was not Miss Whitney Houston. That was Idaho's own 17-year-old Lillian Cook. And we will just roll with that and say, look at those young people that are still showing up and learning our anthem and just knocking it out of the park. Now we're going to move on to our back to Miss Karen Chase, who's got an introduction of our Navajo Nation.
Thank you so much, Ginny. And that was a lovely rendition. I'm glad to see young people showing up and participating. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Raina Martin, the Navajo Nation anthropologist. And I believe we have a video this morning. And if we are not quite queued up quite yet for the video, just gonna hand it back to Ginny for a moment.
Well, we're just going to jump around on this because that's what Democratic women do. We just know how to show up and make things great wherever they are. Christine, can we go into, please, our first poll question? I'd like to get some of our women on our call involved in some polling. You're muted.
Yes.
There we go.
Mary, can we have the poll? There we go. Poll question number 1. How can Democratic women best amplify their voices and influence in politics? This is best, so it's your top choice. Running for office at all levels, building stronger coalitions and networks, leveraging social media and digital platforms, advocating for policy change through grassroots organizing, or mentoring the next generation of leaders. Remember, you have one choice: running for office, building stronger coalitions and networks, leveraging social media and digital, policy change through grassroots organizing, or mentoring the next generation of leaders. Obviously, they're all very, very important, but you can only pick one as your top. So what's it going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, we just have a few more minutes and a few more people. Well, one more minute and a few more people. I see running for office coming in first. I see building stronger coalitions and networks at 24%. Our social media and digital platforms at 10%, policy change through grassroots organizing 12%, and mentoring at 18%. So we have a lot of work that we are doing in all of these categories. And that
It's
is a
also very
beautiful thing.
interesting to hear some of the chat, Christine, on how, that social media of keeping people engaged and our younger members only seeing that top headline. Gosh, we've gone from where you don't read a subject line on email to a little Twitter snip to now it's just going to be a quick post. So we've got to keep us up with the times as well so that we're making sure we hit everyone where they are. So we should be now. We are, Miss Christine. We have a special video I believe you're going to be introducing for us.
I do. And just as we close out this poll, appropriate that if we are we closed? Are we ready? We have our poll results. So here's what you decided. 35% of you said running for office at all levels, 24% building stronger coalitions and networks, 10% leveraging social media and digital, 12% policy change through grassroots organizing, and 18% on mentoring the next generation of leaders. So thank you all for that. And we have our results. So now as we close the poll and move on, we can make sure that if we close the poll so we can all see just each other. There we go. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure now to introduce a video from a woman who has done all of those
I'm
things.
sorry.
Would someone like to add something? There we go. Let us please hear from the one, the only, our forever Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi.
Good morning, Democratic Women in Blue. It's Nancy. Thank you to the leaders who made this gathering possible and to every woman here who shows up to fight for our democracy and to fight for the children again and again. Today, during Women's History Month, we are called to uplift one another and to take action. I'm so proud of all the women in blue, the Democratic women who have been showing up on phone banks, on canvases, on No Kings rallies, on picket lines, and at the polls. Because of you, Democrats have won elections from coast to coast, from new women governors in New Jersey and Virginia to an overwhelming victory in California's Prop 50. We are at a pivotal moment for our country, less than 8 months from the most consequential election of our lifetime. Everything is at stake in this election, including our very democracy. It's up to us to save our health care, to restore our rights, and to save our democracy. And we'll save our democracy at the kitchen table. The protections that millions of American families depend on have been ripped away or are under threat from the Republicans' ruthless agenda: health care, food assistance, retirement security, vital lifelines for the American people. And right now, those lifelines are being destroyed out of cruelty and out of the Republicans' obsession to give even more massive tax cuts to the ultra-rich. With 8 months to the election, Republicans are on track to lose the House because they failed America's working families and raised costs. And the Republicans' cruel cuts are having a disproportionate impact on women and women-led families. So now Republicans are trying to stop Americans who may not support them from voting, including millions of U.S. women with their so-called SAVE Act. Let's be crystal clear here. The Trump SAVE Act is a poll tax. require a passport or birth certificate to vote. It is designed to disenfranchise millions of voters, including over 70 million women who have changed their names due to marriage or divorce. We must stop this assault and safeguard our precious voting rights. Democratic Women in Blue, know your power in all of this and use your power. We've been here before and we have won before because we don't agonize, we organize. Right now, I'm focused like a laser beam on winning the House. Democrats only need to flip 3 seats to win the House, and we fully intend to win the House this November. Of course, I want 30 seats. And with Democratic Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, we will end Trump's reign of terror. Democratic Women in Blue, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for turning passion into action. When women lead, progress follows. And when women succeed, America succeeds. God bless you, God bless America, and may God protect our troops.
Excellent.
So I kept some of the numbers last time, just so for parents' sake.
Well, thanks, Mom.
Our next topic is
Hope everybody enjoyed the video. We do not agonize, we organize. And as we know, this is a very short amount of time. So think, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel just a few months from today? Right? We've got just a short time left and a lot of work to do. And so in 8 months, we can end this reign of terror and cut his untrammeled presidency in half. That is the challenge that we face, and that is the opportunity that we have with all of you. I wanted to send it back over to Carolyn Fowler to prepare us for our next guest and also to give her thoughts on the results of the poll. Carolyn?
Well, I can give the results on the poll. Our guest was not to be here till 9:30, or my guest was not to be here till 9:30. But I think I'm not surprised. As someone said in the chat, I believe we can do it all. I know they say that you can't do more than one thing at a time well, but it has been proven time and time again, particularly with Democratic women, we get the job done. Multitasking is our specialty. I'm extremely excited about the work ahead. We just left our convention in California, motivated. There are a lot of good candidates, and that's a good thing that we have. Our primary is coming up in June, so between now and then, we've already been in California, just so you know, organizing since January. We do year-round organizing here, and that definitely has contributed to much to our success, particularly most recently with Prop 50, which is the bill and measure that we use to redistrict our state. And it's working out quite well, I might add. And I'm looking forward to some of the other states. I know Virginia, Maryland are going to be coming on board as well. As far as the poll, it also indicates the key areas, especially the top 3, that we really need to focus on. I think that many of us have spent a lot of time now understanding the value and the importance of not only our youth, and most states have already started activating our youth because we get reports at our convention about that, which is a good thing, particularly on our college campuses. And our high school students were remarkable. Unbelievable how well versed they are on many of the issues and the candidates that are going to be coming up for election and re-election. It also points to the fact of the mentorship that we try to do here at Women in Blue in identifying young women and letting them step up and take responsibility, not just phone bank, not just text, but actually running an organization, running a phone bank, maybe running a text bank, posting and hosting seminars and workshops. So hopefully, if you are not doing some of that in your area, you will seek membership, as we talked about earlier, in this organization on how to do that. Are we?
We are ready for our first round
our
of
first group?
states.
Sounds great. Let's see what's going on. What region is that?
The Eastern region.
Hello, I'm Joyce Pettaway, the president of the Connecticut Federation of Democratic Women. We represent Connecticut, the Constitution state, and it's the land of steady habits. We've held rallies every other Saturday to talk about what's going on in the country and keeping people abreast and to keep us protected of our rights. You know, they're trying to take the women's rights, and here we are once again, but we continue to fight for the rights. These are not easy times. These are fearful times, but it's an opportunity for us to get involved and save our democracy. We held an event regarding wellness, of which we all need to continue this fight. We listened to our state chair to come in and talk to us about winning this next election and just winning, period. We're very proud of Connecticut because Connecticut is a state that holds families in the center of our interest. We expect to celebrate Women in History on March 26th at the state capitol, whereby we'll be meeting with all of our legislators to get to know them and for us to keep us abreast of the different laws and bills that are being passed in the state of Connecticut. This is a time for all of us, and I want everybody to hear this. This is a time where we have to put the gas into the gears of authoritarianism. And there's no question that we can do this, because when women win, we all win. We know we're the ones who hold up the sky. So I would encourage everyone to stay involved and support your candidates, and let's flip those seats in November. See you at the convention, June the 3rd through the 6th. Have a great day.
Alongside Governor Kathy Hochul, Comptroller Tom DiNapoli, Attorney General Tish James, Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie, and the U.S. Senators Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, the New York State Federation of Democratic Women is championing women, our issues, and our leadership at every level of government. This past year, we proudly supported Democrats running from town councils and county legislatures to mayoral offices and state legislature. Across New York, our candidates stepped forward to strengthen their communities and our democracy. We hosted 2 campaign school candidate trainings, equipping more than 100 candidates statewide with the strategy, skills, and confidence to run winning campaigns. From fundraising and field operations to messaging and compliance, we ensured these women were prepared not just to run, but to win. And win they did. Our efforts help lead to the historic elections of Dorcia Pleers in Albany and Sharon Owens in Syracuse, the first Black women ever elected mayor in their cities, as well as Jackie Salvatore, the first female Black sheriff in New York. We also helped elect key allies in special elections to the state legislature, including State Senator Jeremy Zellner. Looking ahead to 2026, we are eager to elect our state's first ever all-female ticket, Governor Kathy Hochul and Lieutenant Governor Adrienne Adams. We are also working to re-elect Comptroller Tom DiNapoli and Attorney General Tish James. The New York State Federation of Democratic Women is building our PAC to provide the largest campaign grants of any women's organization in New York State. We are not only recruiting strong candidates, we are giving them the tools and the financial support to win. Because when women lead, communities thrive. Our work today is ensuring strong Democratic leadership in New York for years to come.
Those were just great seeing those. I believe we're now up for Miss Carolyn, and she's got a special introduction for us.
Our timing, ladies, was 9:30 request, remember? Was there another introduction that you wanted me to make instead?
Oh, I've got you on my time zone. I'm so sorry. And I'm the one we say that we got to stick with Eastern time so we don't get confused. I'm like, it's 9:32. What's her issue?
It was 9:30 Pacific time.
There you go. So we know how to keep moving.
That's
We're going
right.
to go now to Ms. Hazel Thomas in DC that has got some words of inspiration from the cradle of our democracy that should be a state. And by God, in my lifetime, I hope it is one. Ms. Thomas, our
Yes, how
co-chair.
are you? Thank you. Statehood is always on our mind. It is our primary issue. And with all the candidates, we are in the midst right now of election season. I mean, everything is changing, DC. I must mention to you this before we go to the next section. Everything has changed because we were subjected to an incredible government overreach. Because we're not a state, the National Guard and ICE destroyed our commercial businesses downtown because nobody came. When that happens, we don't get tax dollars. When we don't have tax dollars, we can't provide services to our most vulnerable populations and all of our residents. And we pay taxes. In fact, we're third among the most taxes, federal taxes paid in the whole country. And so we have been through a lot, but we're women. And I was looking at New Jersey, and they had a sign that said, "One tough mother." We are all some tough mothers, and we rise to the occasion. We do not, we do not throw in the towel. And if there's ever been a time when we've got to move and shift and adjust, work at the local level, work at the state level, work at the national level to get it done. And when women work, women win. And I want to share with you just a couple of videos, really. Not so long ago, we did Women in Blue in Washington in person. And when we did it in person, we always had a greeting from our Congresswoman, as well as we had a greeting from our mayor. Well, we're not in person. We are meeting each other virtually, which is wonderful. So I just wanted to share with you two things. The two most prominent women in Washington, D.C. politics, our congresswoman, our lone congresswoman, Eleanor Holmes Norton, and our mayor, Muriel Bowser, are both leaving office this year. I mean, when I say there's change in DC, it's because it's a tsunami. Everything is changing. And so I wanted to share this information with you. Please be aware that our warrior on the Hill, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, will be retiring at the end of 2026. And she's done an extraordinary job under some incredible odds. And so we're going to be celebrating her. We will be celebrating her very soon, and I'll send you information about that. But also our Mayor Muriel Bowser, who is a young child and a bright career ahead of her, will not be retiring. She will be leaving office. So with that, ladies, I just want to share with you a few words from each of those ladies, and they understand, as our chair emeritus said, we don't agonize, we organize. Watch with me. Thank you.
I am privileged to represent the 700,000 American citizens in your nation's capital.
I have extended economic development, taken over plots of land that enable the district to develop and district business to do business.
Nothing can stop us now. Statehood, yes!
Most Americans are unaware that although the district has home rule, so-called, the fact is that the Congress of the United States can, and sometimes does, nullify any of the district laws that it pleases.
The District of Columbia has spent 206 years yielding to people who would deny them the vote. I yield you no ground.
To the residents, look, I'm one of you. So let's keep working together. You're doing very well. This city makes me very proud.
Before you scroll, here's what you need to know about Washington, D.C. We're more than monuments and politics. We're home to over 700,000 tax-paying Americans. We serve in the military, we raise families, we open businesses, we don't have voting representation in Congress, we don't control the D.C. National Guard, and we don't have full access to American democracy. And yet, we govern like a city, county, and state. We balance our own budget and we take care of ourselves. Our North Star is defending home rule. Until DC becomes the 51st state, we'll always be vulnerable by our lack of autonomy. This is who we are. This is what we fight for. So now you know. Keep scrolling and stay informed.
Ladies, I just want to let you know that we want to thank our president, who is Susie Baranaro, and we have two incredible leaders of the local clubs, Valka Valentine and Nina Murphy Martin, who brought us those videos. Thank you. Enjoy your day. Hazel, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for those. And really, it is so important that we get DC into statehood. How can we have so many people having no voting autonomy for themselves? I mean, as women, we know what that autonomy is all about. Just quickly, before we go into our next video, I want to welcome my little guest here. I've got Terry Pickens with me. She is our Idaho's DNC rep, but she is also, if I've got anything to do with it, will be the first female governor of the state of Idaho come her election time. So I just wanted to give her a little shout out, as thank her for coming and joining us. And we're now going to hear from a former Florida representative that is just amazing, has a great little video message for us, former Representative Val Demings.
Hello, everyone. It's Val Demings. I so wish I could be with you, but I had a prior commitment to speak to a group of Democratic women in North Florida. First of all, let me welcome you to the National Federation of Democratic Women, Women in Blue 2026. Also, I am so thankful for you using your collective strength to fight for democratic principles and values. When Democratic women use our intellect, our strength, our hands, our feet, and our powerful voices, our communities, our nation, and quite frankly, the world changes for the better. As we look back over the years, there is no doubt we have come a long way. But as we check the political temperature in this current environment, we clearly understand we have much work to do. John Lewis said it best when he said, "Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. Our struggle is the struggle of a lifetime." National Federation of Democratic Women, we will not go back, but we will stand up, speak up, and push back when democratic principles, values, and opportunities for all people are under. So again, welcome to the Women in Blue 2026, and thank you, women, for a job well done. Take care.
Thank you so much for that. We've had some really amazing women representation over the years, and I'm taking my little point of privilege, and I'm told that I'm going to be allowed to do so, and you're going to hear just a minute from Terry Pickens.
Thank you, everyone. I've met many of you at the DNC, and I've just really thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all of you. I can't wait until June to meet you all, the ones I haven't met in person in Vegas. And just the support I get from women is really unmatched. And I really appreciate everybody who has stood up, stepped up, and doing the same thing I'm doing. What I'm doing is, as Jeannie said, running to be the first female governor of the state of Idaho, which is a huge feat in and of itself because we haven't had a Democrat elected for 37 years. So that being said, I was never one to cower away from a battle because when women are asked to do something, women get shit done. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. And we will all be rooting her on and see her in Vegas in June. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And I believe we now have some, Carolyn will be introducing our Black History Month pieces.
Hey. Sure, I am unmuted. Yes, on behalf of our DNC Black Caucus Chair, Virgie M. Rollins, we did put out our recent newsletter celebrating Black History Month. And unfortunately, the untimely death of Reverend Jackson did occur at that time. So I guess it was fortuitous in that we were able to salute him in the fashion that we should. Virgie has had a long time relationship, personal, with the Reverend Jackson. The only reason she's not here today is she and some of our other board members were able to celebrate with him and support his wife and family at the funeral yesterday, actually over the weekend. And so the DNC Black Caucus does mourn the loss of our mentor, hero, and living legend, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Jackson paved the way for so many of us who now serve within the Democratic National Committee. Through his courage, conviction, and relentless advocacy, he expanded opportunities for Black Americans in politics, business, and civic life. A towering figure in the civil rights movement, Reverend Jackson fought to dismantle barriers that denied Black communities access to economic power and equal opportunity. His work helped open doors in corporate America, creating pathways for ownership and representation in major franchises such as McDonald's, Burger King, 7-Eleven, and automobile dealerships. Because of his leadership, countless families were able to build wealth, stability, and influence in spaces where they had long been excluded. Reverend Jackson's unrelenting commitment to racial justice, tireless voice for the voiceless, and demand for us to work as partners in service and in coalition really serves as an important reminder for who we are as Democrats and will continue to inspire generations to come. This civil rights leader, they talked about it at the funeral service yesterday. There was nowhere that he could go on any continent and not be welcomed and not meet. The president of Colombia, the country, was there at the funeral yesterday just to show his global reach and impression, even though he had never personally, he had spoken to him by phone, but he had never personally met Jesse Jackson. So we honor his legacy, his sacrifice, and his unwavering commitment to justice and equality. We know his impact will continue to guide and inspire generations to come, and it certainly sets the tone of the work that we need to continue to do, working together in collaborativity. And I will say what no one, so many want us not to say, he was the king of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that when we work together, we win. So thank you very much.
That was just wonderful. And some of those youthful pictures, oh my
I
goodness.
know.
What a
I'll
handsome
try to.
child he was.
Perhaps we can put the newsletter in the chat. It's a beautiful. We're really proud of it because every region had something to say about the key African American leaders in their region. I know what I did in the Western region was I identified for each of the states who was the first African American elected in their state. And believe it or not, something back to 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Carolyn.
sadly, you missed my Cherie Buckner Webb here, my first female African American, first African American here. She's got a park named after her, but you'll get her on the next one. And
Yeah, well, for Women's History Month. So
yes.
remind me, because we're going to
Yes,
do
we'll
Women's
get her
History
in there.
Month.
And it's also just a good note for all of you on our call. Elevate those women up. It's so important that we're telling each other what a great job you're doing, that we're encouraging each other into those leadership roles. If you know somebody that you think is fantastic, maybe she hasn't seen herself in that way. And
Right.
your encouragement at an event of saying, I just love the way you got your point across in that meeting. I think you should run. Here in Idaho, we were celebrating this morning how we have only maybe 5 seats in our 105 that we have left uncontested this next cycle. And that's amazing in a deep red state. So we want to get a quick picture of everyone else, of all of us on the call. So unmute or get your videos live. Give us your smiley faces. Karen Chase is going to take a nice shot for us all.
And
So that we
especially
can.
tell Hazel. Where's Hazel?
Where's
Here
Hazel?
I am.
Get yourself live there. We want to see those beautiful faces. Everybody smile, no chewing.
Gina.
So,
Gina?
oh my goodness.
Lower your hand, Hazel.
How did we get the video on?
I just simply wanted to say that we forget that Jesse Jackson changed the rules. When he ran for president, he changed the rules so that it would not be winner take all.
Right.
And that rule change alone made it possible for President Obama to be elected. I mean, it took a lot of work, but that rule changed the whole political landscape. And we thank him for that as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Look at all your beautiful selves. I had my keynote speaker kept going on about how she wasn't a morning person. She needs to come see all of you. See, we can get it done. I love that we all dress for this. I love that we all get our stuff on. I don't think I'm the only one that puts on perfume for a Zoom call. I can't be. So just want to thank you all for your being here and your participation. And what's next, Miss Christine?
What's next? We have a virtual visit from the president of the Association of State Democratic Chairs. Now, as you all know, there are 57 states and territories. 50 states, DC, and 6 territories, and Democrats abroad that we have representation on the Democratic National Committee. And many of them also have women's caucuses, or what we call chapters, in the National Federation of Democratic Women. And part of the commitment of this year's administration, this 4-year administration, what Ken Martin and Jane Klebb had run on, and they were running in endorsing each other, was to make sure that the parties got their money back. You all may remember way back when, in 2004, after John Kerry lost, there was a big set of speakers that were up, and I was on to actually ask the question, what is your 500-member, 50-state strategy to unite the party? The best answer was Howard Dean. He said, get your money back. we'll give you back your money. And so we all tried to build the 50-state strategy. Now the 57 state party partnership. And that's the great work that Jane Kleeb does. I met her on Youth Vote 2000. She met and married Scott Kleeb, one of our candidates for Congress from Nebraska, in 2006, and moved down to Nebraska. They have a beautiful family down there, and she's been chairing the Nebraska Democratic Party as well as Bold Nebraska, bringing ranchers and progressives together to fight eminent domain for private gain. So please welcome with some words of wisdom our friend, chair of the Nebraska Dems and president of the Association of State Democratic Chairs, Jane Kleeb.
Hello, Women in Blue. My name is Jane Kleeb. I am the chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party, but I also happen to be one of your DNC vice chairs because I am the president of the ASDC. That's the association that represents all 57 state parties across the United States, our territories, and Dems abroad. I'm so proud of everything that you do every single day in our communities and all across this country, making sure that women's voices are represented. We are working hard this cycle to make sure, both at the ASDC and DNC, that we are focused on party building, party infrastructure, so we can make sure that our entire Democratic ticket wins from the top all the way down to our local races. One of the most critical things we are doing is making sure that we are spending resources on election protection. All of us know that Donald Trump has intentions to send militarized ICE agents to our polling locations, shut down early voting, or whatever other scheme that he is going to try to attempt to do. So we got to make sure that we are prepared. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to be recruiting poll workers for polling locations all across the country. We're going to be making sure that legal attorneys are making sure that they are inside as poll observers. We're going to make sure that we have war rooms and boiler rooms in each of our state parties to make sure that election protection is being coordinated statewide. And something new this year is we are recruiting volunteers all across the country to wear a similar blue vest, which will be branded as Democracy Protectors. So we have folks on the outside as well, being the helpers, right? Mr. Rogers always said, look for the helpers, and these are going to be blue vest helpers who will be outside polling locations to be a counter visual to whatever militarized folks that Donald Trump puts at polling locations. We will be there happy, ready, with information so Democrats know who's on the ballot as a Democratic candidate, even in nonpartisan races, so we can hand people that voter guide, but also just be a helping hand at the polling location. And I think really that's what it's all about this cycle, right? Figuring out what lane can you be in to help make sure that we turn out more voters, whether that's veterans and families, and that's a critical group of voters that sometimes gets left out by the Democrats. We need to make sure that we're talking to veterans and their families, especially with the now ongoing, no end in sight war in Iran. Veterans need to know that we as Democrats have their back. And that's exactly what we're doing at the DNC and at the ASDC and all of our state parties all across the country. And I know you have a really broad theme this year, but part of that broad is talking about wellness. And I just want to say, as somebody who recovered from an eating disorder when I was younger, and that recovery really brought me to the Democratic Party. Republicans claim to be pro-life, but something that definitely made me a Democrat was when Terry Schiavo was on life support with her family, and Republicans were all rallying around her to keep her on life support because of their supposed pro-life values. None of them at the time mentioned that she was on life support because she had bulimia, and health insurance companies were constantly denying her the care that she needed. We as Democrats stand up for families. We stand up for people who are struggling. That is the backbone of who we are as a party. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for standing up for women. Thank you for standing up for Democrats all across our country. And I look forward to being in the trenches and on the front lines with you this election cycle.
Thank you, Jane, for that deeply personal and powerful testimonial to why we are Democrats, why we need health care, and why we need to be upfront about our wellness and advocacy. We all talk about saving our health care, but we also need to always, as Nancy Pelosi would say, remember your why. And I know each of us do that. And coming up next, speaking of women who know their why and who've been fighting the GOP Southern strategy and in all of its horrible forms for many years now, please welcome videos from our Southern states.
This is powerful. Having women here from Georgia, I stand before you deeply grateful. Grateful for your commitment and grateful for your refusal to disengage. You are women from every corner of this state, every race, every age, every background. And what unites us is a conviction. We all are women of conviction. Conviction that democracy matters. Conviction that participation matters. And more than that, conviction that Georgia matters. The framers understood something fundamental. Whoever controls the ballot controls the future. And many times when people are not out voting, they don't understand the power that they have. But they do. The other side, the people who want to take it over. When I took my oath as a judge, I swore to uphold the Constitution. Not because it was convenient, because there were a whole lot of things I could be doing. I don't need popularity because I'm good enough because God said I was good enough. I'm not worried about push, but I do understand that we are in a situation where this is not a drill. This is really serious. And the elections are not a toy. And it should not be used as a political weapon. They are not something that you just grab, haul away, put them in a truck, manipulate, because you don't like the outcome. They belong to the people. And when anyone from anywhere tries to overreach, intimidate, or blur that line, it is the duty of leaders who understand the law to stand in the gap. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. I am a civil rights lawyer, a civil rights judge. I'm not a one-issue person because as women, we're not one issue. We have to deal with a whole lot of things. I'm running for Georgia Secretary of State, and I know it's down ballot, and everybody's talking about the Senate race, and everybody's talking about the gubernatorial race. But one of the most important, if it is not the most important job, is the Secretary of State. And if you really want to get something done, you get a woman to do it. And when you put a strong woman in it, oh, y'all can do better than that. We can do 10 different things. Hold our bed on one side, be on the cell phone, go take care of our mamas, and wear our high heels and still look cute. All at the same time. because that's the way we roll. We've always had to carry everything. But the beautiful thing now, and when I look across this room and I look across all over Georgia, is that when I do it, I know I'm not doing it by myself. That I have women in Georgia who really, really care about democracy, because democracy is not self-executing. It requires guardians.
Wow.
Greetings from the Mississippi Federation of Democratic Women. I'm their president, Dr. Brooke Herman. I hope today's Women in Blue Day brings us connection, motivation, and joy. I hope each of us feels connected to other Democratic women that are working hard every day, that we feel connected in our fight for equal representation, a more equitable society, and a truly democratic future for our country. I hope we feel motivated by the number of trials and tribulations we each experience in our states and communities, and at the same time, allow the stories of success and victories to propel us forward. I hope we feel joy at the number of women and men on this call today. We know we are not alone in our fight to uphold and strengthen our democratic values and principles. In Mississippi, it can be difficult to feel connected, to keep motivated, and to be joyful. So let me share a motivating story. During our special elections last year, we had 3 female Democratic candidates run for state Senate district seats. 3 females were running in a field of 7 candidates in a nonpartisan Senate district seat. Happily, Teresa Isom won her election as the first female African American to serve in her Senate district. And she is a member of the Mississippi Federation of Democratic Women from the DeSoto County Marshall Club. Also, one of the females in the nonpartisan race, Kamisha Mumford, also won her race. We are so proud of these ladies, and they have shown us that change can and will happen, but we have to remain motivated and rejoice in our hard-won victories. I will leave you with wisdom from Fannie Lou Hamer. She's a famous civil and voting rights activist. Her history is one of action. She believed in direct, persistent action, noting, you can pray until you faint, but unless you get up and try to do something, God is not going to put it in your lap. I am eternally grateful for her motivating words and her actions, and I hope you are motivated to continue the fight as well.
Hi everyone, Kramer Vaughn, President of Democratic Women, North Carolina. I hope you're all doing well. I'm excited to share our organization is over 3,200 women strong across 55 counties here in beautiful North Carolina. We're currently working on activating 5 new chapters as we speak. Just last year, as I'm sure many of you are aware from national news, we had to deal with the GOP-aligned lawsuits trying to restrict the voice of the people here in North Carolina under our North Carolina Supreme Court race. Justice Allison Riggs won rightfully from the voice of the people. Our women had to step in immediately. They're carrying ballots, collecting votes, knocking on doors of people who were flagged, making phone calls, staying involved in Board of Election meetings, and financially supporting Allison during this endeavor. We're excited to see that the courts upheld and Justice Riggs is in her rightful spot thanks to the voice of our women. In just the first quarter, we helped find, recruit, and train candidates from local, statewide, and national, knocked on doors, electioneered, and worked polls, as well as did voter protection. Looking ahead in 2026, our members are energized and ready to work as hard as they can to help support re-elect Justice Anita Earls in the North Carolina Supreme Court. We're also preparing to help send former Governor Roy Cooper to D.C. as our new U.S. Senate, a race that will shape the future of our state and our country. We'll be supporting our local candidates and national candidates as well, and making sure every voice is heard. Every county we organize, every member we recruit, every voter we reach strengthens our collective power. And together, we're building a statewide network of women who are informed, engaged, and ready to lead North Carolina forward. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Ida B. Wells to Representative Lois D. Berry. These are voices of power that we lean on and we stand on their shoulders. Women working, wellness, and winning. I come to you today giving you the charge to let us continue the work, us women in blue. I am Tyra Turner Clinton, newly elected president of the Democratic Women of Shelby County. We stand together where the mission continues.
Howdy from the great state of Texas. My name is Carol Jablonski, and I'm the president of the Texas Democratic Women. The Texas Democratic Women just held their 39th annual convention, and we had a 25% uptick in participation, which we're very proud of. We heard from many of the statewide primary candidates and several national names like Sky Perryman of Democracy Forward and Catherine Pichardo of Latino Victory. We also had a number of workshops and opportunities for people to socialize with each other from all over this great state. You also probably heard that we've had a very exciting primary here in Texas with unprecedented Democratic turnout. We're very happy for all the candidates who've won, but we're particularly proud because Gina Hinojosa, who is the Democratic nominee for governor, Vicki Godwin, who is in a runoff for lieutenant governor, and Sarah Eckhart, who is the Democratic nominee for comptroller, all have been awarded the Dr. May Jackson Outstanding Elected Official Award by the Texas Democratic Women. We're so happy to see these outstanding women moving on in Democratic politics and happy to support them and the other Democrats from the top to the bottom. This is the year that we were going to turn Texas blue. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Southern Region, representing. My goodness. We're gonna have to have a competition here and see which region can get the most votes. Well, it gives me a great pleasure at this time to, someone mentioned it earlier, salute one of our men in blue. Pardon me, one of our men in blue. It is our DNC chair, Ken Martin. And many of you probably know something about Ken, but I'm going to tell you a little more. Ken is a pro-labor progressive who grew up in the American Midwest as the firstborn son of a single mom, raising 4 children by the age of 20, shaping his lifelong commitment to working families. Before becoming chair of the Democratic National Committee, he led the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yep, we did until last April when they made everybody come back to work. And COVID happened when I was a kid.
Okay, can we mute that person?
For a lot of people, it was wrong, but I think it's because a lot of people just weren't used to having their kids home.
Can we find
And spouses weren't used to being around each other. My whole life, I would not have survived. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Can
Somebody
we
needs to give me a lick of them
isolate
people.
that individual?
Yeah. But I think just
Ruby,
my kids,
mute
they're more
yourself.
like they're more homebodies. They just like being around us. They'd rather be home.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just finish. I'll start with before he became the chair, he was the chair of the Democratic National Committee. He led the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party in Minnesota. They had 25 victories, 2 state trifectas, and one of the nation's most pro-worker policy agendas. His success earned him the election to lead the Association of State Democratic Committees, where he launched national initiatives to strengthen grassroots organizing. As DNC chair, Ken is focused on rebuilding the organizing foundation that has made the Democratic Party the party of working people across every community. He is committed to building a permanent year-round campaign operation that competes in red, purple, and blue states and wins up and down the ballot. His goal and long-term sustainable success at the local, state, and national levels. We had the opportunity to go to Minnesota recently, and I read this morning that maybe they are even nominated for a major, the president won't be happy. What Nobel Peace Prize. Not you, boo. Anyway, please, let's show what Ken has to sell us. He's very good about this.
Hello, Democrats. Let me start by thanking the National Federation of Democratic Women, your President, Lovey West, First Vice President Christine Pelosi, and all of your leaders and members for the hard work that you do day in and day out. Your mission to grow the ranks of Democratic women who are running for office and advocating for change is central to the success of our party. Every person you reach, every volunteer or supporter that you activate grows our tent and gets us closer to ending the chaos that Trump and Republicans have unleashed in our communities. That's why today's virtual event, Women in Blue, could not come at a better time. With less than 9 months until the November midterm elections, this is an all-hands-on-deck moment. And I know how high the stakes are and why it's so important that we organize, strategize, and mobilize to win back political power up and down the ballot. Now, the DNC is all gas and no brakes in support of our shared mission. And let me tell you something. The DNC is no longer going dormant in between election cycles. Democrats are organizing year-round, competing everywhere and winning anywhere. We won in 2025, and we're working around the clock to win again in 2026. Now, as I always say, we're confident, but we're not complacent. And so much of that confidence comes from strong partnerships like the one we have with each of you, as well as the belief that we're all in this fight together. So as you convene today, know that the Democratic Party owes a huge debt of gratitude to each and every one of you. Trailblazers, visionaries, and barrier breakers who don't just hope for better days, but actively work to make them a reality. Now, in the work ahead, I hope that you carry with you the learned lessons and vital conversations you have today. Thank you once again for all that you do to celebrate the work of Democratic women, and I look forward to seeing you out on the campaign trail.
Well, wasn't that inspiring? Oh, we love hearing from great leaders. They're so good. So now we've got our next poll question. And this one, it's very clear, very dear to me. I have publicly admitted that I had some very serious issues with depression during the beginning of COVID. And living in a really red state, it's really important that we be looking at our mental health and staying well. So our question for you now is, how have recent developments in federal government policies and actions impacted your mental health? So we've got your choices there. I'm feeling more stressed and anxious. I feel motivated to take action and stay engaged. I'm overwhelmed, but I'm trying to stay hopeful. I haven't noticed a significant impact. I want to meet you. I feel uncertain about the future, but I am seeking support. So we'll give you a few minutes. You've got one of those choices to pick, please. And, while you're doing those selections, we'll just tell you of how, we're finding different ways that we all checking in with each other, just making sure your neighbor's okay. I'm hearing some really powerful different stories of someone, we were in a group and someone just looked sad and they all stopped to go over and make sure this woman was okay. And she felt very embarrassed by it, but it was really kind of a very moving moment. Also had heard from a friend, a male friend recently, that went to a survivors meeting, and he was the only man in the space, and there was about 75 women, and they were making some legislative moves for survivors of sexual abuse. And he bumped into a woman, and he jumped back because he didn't want to scare her, and she looked over, and she said, "Why are you here?" And he says, "I'm 53, and I'm a survivor too." And he said that it changed the whole thing. Pretty soon he was just a survivor. And he said, "I bawled. These women were so accepting. They just helped me." And he now recognizes he is an ally and not just a survivor. So we welcome that support we get from all over. Do we have some? How's our poll going? I'm not seeing those results. Do we have some results going on our poll? Do we want to let people vote on those while here we go. Feeling motivated is the top response at this time, and we like that. We want to know that it's giving you that charge. I think it's Erica Jong that says that desperation keeps you stuck, but anger makes you move. And you get the right people, prod that little bear. And then, of course, stressed is leading in second place. So I think that if you're getting motivated and you're getting involved, then you're going to be getting less stressed and less overwhelmed, which we all still hit. So I think this is very important for us to be aware of just how we're each feeling. You're not the only one that's probably having those senses. And I love that no one picked uncertain. So we kind of know what's going on, and hopefully we're all asking for help. So keep doing that, ladies. It's really important that we be there for each other. We're now going to go, and I hope you're enjoying this program as much as I am. It's just been fantastic so far. Do you want to go? Okay, well, we just changed. Are we going to run that roll of states, or are you ready to go? I don't want to keep any special guests waiting.
I believe we're ready to go.
Okay.
And with that, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to some, and many of you already know, our current Vice Chair of Civic Engagement and Voter Participation from the Democratic National Committee, Raina Walters Morgan. I'm going to tell you a little about Raina, and then she's going to have a presentation for you. Raina is an organizer, attorney, and voting rights advocate. After law school, she spent time in private practice and as a senior attorney at the Social Security Administration. Later, she worked as Regional Voter Protection Director in Ohio and managed North Carolina's nonprofit voter protection efforts. For almost 5 years, she was the voter protection director at the DNC, where she built an award-winning program and modernized all the resources there. She most recently served as an appointee to the U.S. Department of Justice in the Biden-Harris administration. She is a proud UNC Tar Heel, Howard Bison, and member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But let me tell you something you don't know about her. Raina has been to all 50 states and all 7 continents. Now that's remarkable. I travel a lot, but I'm way off the trace on that one. So please give a warm Women in Blue welcome to Raina Walters Morgan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the wonderful and very kind introduction. And thank you all for being here today. You know, this group is a pillar of our party, and the work that you do is so critical. Thank you to the leadership of the National Federation for Democratic Women for just holding this space and really helping us push our party forward. And I really have to say, too, that I love the theme that you all have this year because I think it really gets to the intersectionality of what a lot of us are going through and feeling. Everyone on this call is used to doing the work. You're probably doing much more work than many people in that you know, and you're probably the person that people go to when they have questions or concerns or issues. And so you all are already doing the work. But in this day and age, the wellness piece is so critical. Preserving your peace when everything around you is a dumpster fire is hard. And it's something that, you know, I can say I think a lot about. And I always try to encourage people, you know, take the time that you need to refill your cup because we need you in fighting shape this year, next year, and going into 28. Preserve your peace, but also be willing to take it to the streets when we need to. And I know everyone on this call is used to doing that, which kind of leads to the third piece of winning. And Democrats have been doing just that. Democrats have been overperforming. I'm sure you've heard a lot about that, but I wanted to share just a little bit of information that came out of North Carolina because I'm here. This is where I'm based, and our primary was Tuesday. Early voting turnout increased 25% in North Carolina for this primary election compared to the 2022 primary. That's significant. And in some counties, early voting participation surpassed 2024 primary levels. And so this is something that I think, you know, we all know that we're winning, but we also have to be really mindful about the fact that what we're doing is winning. People are sick of what they're seeing. Democrats are getting on the ground. They are running campaigns that are speaking to people in a way that is encouraging them to go out to the ballot box. And one more note on North Carolina, the total 2026 turnout, this is the unofficial result, but it shows that more than 1.5 million voters cast ballots in the North Carolina primary in 2026, which was up 5% from 2022. So that's just in North Carolina. What that tells me is that voters are engaged. And it also tells me that the Republicans are going to be running scared. I think we have a couple of slides that I was going to share. Am I sharing those or?
Yes.
Okay.
No. I think we have them.
Okay, perfect. And Republicans are seeing these numbers just like the rest of us are. And I think because of that, we know that they're going to throw everything at the wall to see what they can do to try and limit the impact of what I feel confident and hopeful will be a blue wave this November. Next slide, please.
Is it moving?
No, it's
Hold
not.
on a second. She's.
Okay.
Then she's going to start over.
Oh, okay, no problem.
There we go. We're
Okay.
going to get there. We're going to get there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So just big picture, you know, voter protection is one of the ways that I think is really going to be helpful in trying to combat what we've heard. This administration, like, let's just be very clear. Trump is running scared, and he is scared of the accountability that is going to come his way in November. And so, they are trying, he's trying to do all of these executive orders. He's trying to do all of these things to limit turnout. But that's why we have voter protection programs. And that's why the DNC has been really, really amazing at trying to help states establish programs and plug into programs that are already happening to support the things that are already happening on the ground. Next slide, please. So this is the SAVE Act, and I want to talk a little bit about this, and I apologize because this is, we had a slightly revised slide that I think didn't make it to you all in time. But just to give you a big picture, you might have heard of the SAVE Act. It's passed in the House. The Senate Majority Leader has promised to bring it up to a vote. We know that about 50 Republicans have said that they support the SAVE Act. The one thing that we feel slightly hopeful about is that from accounts that we've heard, we never know what's really going to happen. It does not have the votes to get past the filibuster. But Trump has called on them to go nuclear and get rid of the filibuster. And you might have even heard that in the Texas primary, Ken Paxton, who's running against Cornyn, has basically said that if the Senate passes the SAVE Act, that he will drop out of the race. I am not at all thinking that came of his own volition. I feel very confident that he probably got nudged by that, nudged on that from somewhere. So the SAVE Act is not going to save anyone. The problem is that it requires onerous restrictions and onerous methods to have people who are eligible to vote to go vote. A driver's license isn't enough. It would impact people of color significantly. Approximately 11% of the people of color don't have access. And also, it requires a passport. And so, if your name doesn't match the name on your birth certificate, then you would need a passport. Passports cost $130. So this is something that, oh, here we go. Thank you. We're moving in real time. I love it. This is my revised slide. And so 21 million Americans don't have easy access to their citizenship documents. And this whole act is perpetuating a lie. Because at the end of the day, there is not an issue of non-citizens voting. And so just know, like, this is part of their big scheme to try and limit access because they know they're going to lose in November. Next slide. And so I think the next slide was talking about the Know Your Rights polls, the Know Your Rights at the polls. The DNC has been doing some trainings, and we want to make sure that for anyone who might be nervous about going to the polls, we don't want that to keep people from going out. You can scan that barcode. It has information that you can share with your communities. The DNC has been working with partners on Know Your Rights trainings. And then the last slide, because I believe I'm coming up on time, is if you are interested in doing any voter protection volunteering, if you are interested in sharing this information, please share this with people in your networks who might be interested in volunteering. I can tell you, I've done a lot of voter protection work, and one of my favorite things is working on a voter assistance hotline. We've updated the systems. You can do it from anywhere now, which is great. But also there is a level of satisfaction of knowing when someone calls a hotline that has an issue that you are able to help them cast a ballot that counts. And so there are many ways to volunteer. This is but one of them. I'm so thankful for you all on this call today. Thank you for all that you do. And please don't be intimidated by what this administration is trying to do, because that's what it is. They're trying to intimidate people, and any information that we can share with folks to let them know and empower them before they go to the polls will be helpful.
Thank you so very much. Vital information. And I know many states have voter protection. Okay, who is that talking?
Yeah, none of them.
Can you mute other people? We in California, unfortunately, will probably have that voter ID. I think they secured the signatures. It will be on our ballot this year, unfortunately, but I'm sure we're anxious to beat it back. I know our Secretary of State, and I'm sure about our labor partners, but it is something to watch out for in all of your states. If you can get ahead of it at the state level before it passes. I mean, if you can try to start talking to people ahead of it, it's better. And so we're going to have to start talking earlier in California and warning people about that. Also, I think there's an education opportunity for talking to people about signing everything at the grocery store, wherever you're at the gas station, wherever, before you read it. And whatever they tell you or name it, it could be hurting you. So I don't sign anything anymore at any store or anything. They just ask first, are you a registered voter? And will you sign here, pretending it's going to help you. So I think there's a great opportunity for education around that. So thank you so much, Raina. Appreciate all you do.
Appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Isn't that awesome? Oh my goodness, you're getting some great information here today. This has just been fantastic. And now we've got our next group of states we'll be hearing from the Midwest.
What's going on in Kansas? Hi guys, Cassie Woolworth. I'm the current president of the Kansas Federation of Democratic Women, and we've got lots going on across the state. Currently, we're running fundraisers everywhere. We've already increased our membership by over 20%, and we're talking to our women electeds about what it takes to win in Kansas. Take a look.
Yeah. So, like I said, the situation was we were seeing this chronic underfunding of our school.
My beginning, let me back up just a little bit. My beginning in politics was with my dad.
My husband and my kids.
They said you should have been already running.
And I think they were really happy with
Well, I think it's important for people to have their own North Star, to know what your own moral code is, where your bright lines are, what you will and will not do.
It was in about a year time span that I was really I just caught the bug of Kansas politics. And I was like, what is this? What is happening here? Then you read the headlines and you're like, they said what? What is going on up there?
You know, I hear women talk about that, what was it called? The imposter syndrome. That piece of it and it's that insecurity that sometimes women have.
My father-in-law used to get frustrated watching football. And he'd say, these refs are crooked. That was a bad call. And my husband would just say, if a team is worthy of winning, they're going to have to win in spite of crooked refs.
I feel like there were definitely moments of that. And I feel like my biggest enemy is myself. So I really relied on my kitchen table, my small circle of staff and volunteers.
I whine a little bit to my family and complain. You know, I have a group of really close legislative women friends, and sometimes you'll screenshot something and send it and be like, I can't win.
We're looking forward to seeing everybody May 2nd at our convention in Topeka. Go to kfdw.org for more information. Until then, bye now.
Good morning. My name is Marilyn Connor. I am the chair of the Michigan Democratic Women's Caucus, and I bring warm greetings from the great state of Michigan. I want to take a moment to reflect on some of the incredible work our members have done in the last year. Virgin Rollins, our luncheon chair, organized our Legacy Women's Luncheon in Detroit, Michigan, that drew over 1,000 attendees. A powerful testament to the strength and energy of our community. Our members also showed up and showed out at the No Kings Marches, standing on the right side of history. But as proud as we are of what we accomplished, we know the work is far from over, because 2026 is a critical election cycle for Michigan. With Governor Whitmer term limited, every major executive position in our state is up for grabs. The governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, and attorney general. We must make sure Democrats hold these seats. On top of that, we need to take back the state house and hold the Senate. The entire landscape of Michigan's future depends on what we do between now and Election Day. So what does that look like? It looks like get out the vote rallies across the state, and last cycle we had representation in most counties. It looks like mobilizing women, energizing our base, and supporting Democrats up and down the ticket, local, state, and federal. We have our luncheon coming up on April 18th and the MDP State Endorsement Convention on April 19th. Michigan is ready. Let's get to work. Thank you.
But it is important to me that we invest in education, we invest in healthcare, we invest.
So good. And now we're going to be hearing from in our Midwestern region, we'll be hearing from Illinois Representative Lauren Underwood. Oh, she's so good.
Hi everyone, I'm Congresswoman Lauren Underwood and I am honored to serve Illinois' 14th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. I'm so happy to hear the National Federation of Democratic Women is hosting this convening because as women, we have the power to win elections and change the trajectory of our country. As women, we lead in our classrooms and our clinics, throughout our communities, and yet too few of us have ever served in Congress. America is celebrating our 250th birthday this summer, and since our nation's founding, only 450 women have ever served in the House or Senate. When I was elected in 2018, I became the youngest Black woman ever elected to the Congress, and my journey was unlikely, to say the least. In 2017, I was 30 years old and decided to attend my congressman's one and only town hall meeting that year. It was early in the first Trump administration, and the Congress was considering whether to repeal the Affordable Care Act. My congressman promised that he would only vote for a version of repeal that protected people like me with pre-existing conditions. When he made that promise, I believed him because it was personal for me. But 2 weeks later, he voted for Trump's American Health Care Act, a version of legislation that would make it cost prohibitive for people like me with pre-existing conditions to afford the health care we needed. I was angry and felt betrayed, but instead of sitting around, I decided, you know what? It's on, I'm running. Now, all of us, I'm sure, have had these convictions. I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna start a business. Well, I just couldn't get this out of my head. So I got together with a good girlfriend of mine, and we spent the next couple months figuring out how to run for Congress. We built a website, shot a launch video, and collected petition signatures to get on the primary ballot. We knocked on doors across the district. We called our neighbors and texted our friends and showed up at events, and we demanded different leadership. Now, some of the doors I knocked on said that they hadn't heard from a Democratic candidate in over a decade. They honestly thought they were the only Democrats on their block. Because of the people-powered campaign that we built, I won that primary election, beating 6 guys to become the Democratic nominee for the 14th District. And to be honest with you, building our campaign infrastructure was hard. We mobilized our volunteers. We created a community so that people didn't feel alone. We recruited Democratic precinct captains and rebuilt the Democratic Party's presence in every corner of the district. To do that meaningfully meant also supporting our county Democratic Party organizations and the many other Democratic candidates running for state and local office across the district. Ahead of the 2018 midterm election, our campaign sent $1,000 checks to each of our county parties and the Democratic nominees challenging incumbent Republican state senators or state representatives. Being a team player and investing in campaigns at the state and local level is a priority for me, so we've made these investments year after year, cycle after cycle through my Farm Team PAC. I believe that when the Democratic Party is strong, our candidates win. Now, as we entered the fall, just weeks before the 2018 election, I made it a priority to attend every county party meeting and every community parade. I held events in areas where my Republican opponent would never bother showing up, and I talked about healthcare every single day. Now, that year, we didn't use the current buzzword of affordability, but messaging on healthcare certainly permeated across party lines. Everyday Americans were struggling to afford their care and their prescriptions, and I constantly spoke with voters about their healthcare concerns. So on Election Day, we beat our 4-term Republican congressman by 5 points, and I became the youngest Black woman ever elected to Congress. Now, almost 8 years later, I've had 19 pieces of legislation signed into law, and I serve in leadership roles in both the House Democratic Caucus and with the DCCC, the arm of the party that's responsible for taking back the House majority. This November, ladies, you know it, we are in the fight of our lives. We have to flip the House and stop the chaos and corruption of Donald Trump and this administration. Now, I know that we can win this fight together because a new generation of leaders is rising up and meeting the moment. We are building a stronger Democratic Party where together we can take back the House and hopefully the Senate. And in 2018, we can win back the White House. So ladies, I believe in you. We're going to do this together. I hope you take good care. And thanks again for having me. Bye, everybody.
And if I just may take a moment as we praise Nurse Lauren Underwood. Lauren Underwood's why was the Affordable Care Act, saving it for working families. Lauren Underwood passed legislation to provide subsidies to working families who were on the exchanges. The Republicans stripped away those supports under their rotten, stinking, lousy bill HR 1, beautiful only to the billionaires who got tax cuts. And it actually passed the House through a discharge petition where they literally have a majority of members of the House sign a petition to discharge the bill from the desk and put it on the floor. The Republicans, for reasons that Ginny will get into next in her intro, kept Congress out of session for a good long time to try to hide the Epstein files, but also to delay a vote on this. It has passed the House. It could pass the Senate. So keep in mind when we talk about those Obamacare subsidies, when we talk about those working family subsidies to help people afford their health care with those premium increases, that was Lauren Underwood. So it's our job to uplift Lauren and to uplift the next Lauren Underwood that we see in our communities. Over to you, Ginny.
Thank you so much. And, you know, we have so much to be excited for and so much to be getting ready for, don't we? And, you know, some of that blocking that they do is some of the biggest things we need to get rid of. Yes, we want to be acknowledging now in Arizona. I think she holds the longest record for being installed, though maybe Merrick Garland might want to argue with that. And we are just so proud that she finally got installed. And, you know, that's what women do, right? We get the job and then we wait. It was brought up this morning how, you know, when we used to ask women, will you run? They used to say things like, I don't know that I'm qualified. And my daughter-in-law from Afghanistan always wants to remind me that that is a phrase said by no man ever. Maybe I'm not qualified. And that now, as we continue to go, we're seeing more women say, you know what? I am qualified. I am ready to do this. So we're going to hear now from Arizona's newest Congresswoman, Representative Adelita Grijalvo.
Having a seat at the table and bringing others with you. To every woman considering public service, your voice matters. Step forward. We need you. Te necesitamos. Together we are building a future where women don't just participate, we lead it. Thank you and keep going strong. Adelante.
And now we're going to see our great Western states. And I suggest next year we switch the order up and we do the West first and work them all through. No.
Greetings, women and friends of the National Federation of Democratic Women. My name is Judy Stahl, and I'm honored to be the president of Arizona's Democratic Women. To celebrate Women's History Month 2026 with our theme, Women, Working, Wellness, and Winning, I want to share with you about 3 of our elected officials in Arizona. First, I want to call out our Governor Katie Hobbs, well known for her courage and her veto pen Over 300 bills have been vetoed since she took office, protecting us from the insanity of the Republicans in our state legislature. 15 bills in 1 week in April of 2025, having to do with voting, education, and social policy. She is a champion running for re-election again, Governor Katie Hobbs. Secondly, I'd like to speak to our Attorney General, Chris Mays, who won her election in 2022 by 280 votes out of more than 2.5 million votes cast. Don't ever let anyone tell you that a vote doesn't matter. She has been a leader in the spearheading the efforts to get the tariffs, illegal tariff policies overturned by 6-3 Supreme Court majority just this February, this past month. And then I want to share with you about Representative Adelita Grijalva from Arizona's 7th Congressional District, who you're going to be hearing from very soon as she inspires. She was the 218th vote to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act after they attempted to prevent her from being appointed and sworn in with the longest delay in congressional history of 50 days. We in Arizona are moving forward. We will continue to support these women running for office again in 2026. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monica Wilson, Chair of the California Federation Women's Caucus. This past year, we led the largest coordinated campaign our state has seen in support of Prop 50. And because of that work, because of women across California, we delivered a decisive victory. More than 11.5 million registered voters turned out in this special election, and 64% voted yes. The message was clear: don't poke the bear. That victory didn't happen by accident. It happened because women organized, women mobilized, women led. Across California, women are not just participating in politics, we are shaping it. From local clubs to statewide leadership, women are stepping forward with courage, clarity, and conviction. And this is our moment to strengthen leadership, to mentor the next generation, to make sure women's voices are not just included, but centered whenever decisions are made. We are preparing now, not later, for what's ahead. We are building, we are sharpening, we are mobilizing. So women are in position not only to run, but to win. We remain committed to turning purpose into progress and values into impact for women and families across our state. So let's recommit to collaboration, to bold action, to forward momentum. Because when women organize with purpose and lead with vision, we don't just prepare for the future, we shape it. When we fight, we win. Let's get to work.
Good morning. Idaho Democratic Women's Caucus President Ginny Blue here. We are just heading in for our Women in Blue Day here in Idaho, the beautiful Idaho State Capitol. Looking forward to seeing all our women in blue inside.
Hello from the battle-born state of Nevada. This is Audrey Dempsey, President of Nevada and National Convention Chair for 2026. We are thrilled to celebrate International Women's Day and the NFDW Women in Blue. The whole team, North and South, are working hard in preparation to welcome all of you to Las Vegas. We're meeting candidates and lots of elected officials, supporting the Nevada Young Dems, participating in No Kings, hosting candidate forums, and even a trip to the DNC. Here's a glimpse of some of our craziness.
Women's power doesn't come from a single moment. It's built week by week, room by room, and voice by voice. At the Women's Democratic Club of Utah, that power starts with women learning, connecting, and acting together. At our monthly luncheons, members gather to learn, exchange ideas, and grow together. Knowledge becomes power here, giving every woman the tools, confidence, and connections to take action, lead, and make an impact in her community. And that work is showing results. This year, our membership has reached an all-time high. We're growing across the state, and we've launched a new Southern Utah chapter, bringing women's voices into one of Utah's most Republican regions. You'll find us in action across Utah, walking the halls of the Capitol together, making a little good trouble, and standing up for the Great Salt Lake, public education, voting rights, and the communities we call home. We build power by building relationships, partnering with Democratic organizations statewide and investing directly in women who step forward to lead. Because we don't just talk about change, we fund it. This year, we're on track to donate more to Democratic candidates across Utah than ever before, reaching every corner of the state. We invest early, too. In 2026 alone, we've sponsored 13 women through political development training, giving them the tools, confidence, and community to run, organize, and win, not just elections, but influence. Founded in 1896, the very year Utah women secured the right to vote, our club has spent 130 years organizing, advocating, and leading. This year, we honor the women who refused to sit on the sidelines. From our fun Galentine's event, where we strengthen the bonds that sustain this work, to our 130th anniversary celebration in May, where we will celebrate history and raise resources to power the next generation of leaders, we are building momentum that spans generations. We raise our voices, we open doors, we fund campaigns, we build leadership across every corner of Utah. This is what Voices of Power looks like in Utah. And the next chapter, we write it together.
So proud of our Western region.
That's how the West was won. So at this time, I apologize, ladies. Thank you for your patience. We had some technical difficulties, but this important next guest, I want to introduce Washington State Democratic Party Chair Shasti Conrad, won her DNC Vice Chair election last year. And what's really important about Shasti is that she was really one of the first Asian Americans to be elected. And she has done so much work in that area. We are so proud of her. And I think you should hear from her right away. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It is an honor to join you all as we celebrate Women's History Month and we recognize International Women's Day. This month reminds us that the rights, freedoms, and opportunities women have today were not handed to us. They were fought for by organizers, mothers, workers, students, all leaders who refused to accept a smaller future. Women who marched, legislated, educated, and agitated so that each generation could stand a little bit taller than the one before it. But Women's History Month is not only about looking back. It is also about recognizing that we are living in history right now. Across this country, Democratic women are leading, defending democracy, protecting reproductive rights, strengthening our schools, fighting for economic dignity, and demanding accountability from those in power. And that means refusing to look away from injustice or abuse and continuing to keep a bright spotlight on the Epstein files and the truth that still needs to come to light and the accountability that we need in this country. We also celebrate the incredible women who broke barriers last year, including Governor Abigail Spanberger and Governor Mikey Sherrill. Their leadership is proof that when women step forward to lead, our states and our country are stronger. And the momentum continues. Across the country this year, extraordinary Democratic women are stepping up to run for office in state houses, in Congress, in their local communities, bringing new energy, new ideas, and the courage and bravery to lead. Because we know something powerful. When women organize, communities change. When women vote, democracy is stronger. And when women lead, the future expands for everyone. So today, we honor the women who came before us. We support the women leading today, and we commit ourselves to lifting up the next generation of girls and women who are watching us right now. Because the story of women in America is not finished, and together, we are the ones writing the next chapter. Thank you so much, and a big shout out to my fellow fantastic women in DNC leadership, and particularly my fellow vice chairs, Raina Walters-Morgan and Artie Blanco. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Federation. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I don't know about you, but that's been an exciting 2 hours. Our power hour doubled. 6 years into Zoom, we still have those live TV moments, but that's why you come to be with all of us and to see what happens. So we have some closing remarks, announcements coming up. I want to thank everybody for being here. Shout out to my cat, Daisy, who can't wait to crawl all over the keyboard the minute y'all are done. And I just especially want to thank our technical crew for all the hard work trying to corral all of us. You could say it's like herding cats. So over to you, Ginny, for a little about what's next in June.
Well, thank you so much, Christine. Yes, you see right behind me, we've got Las Vegas coming up. And, we have some great things planned for it. A mobster museum tour by a former first daughter. We've got some great business meetings. The speakers are going to be out of this world. Be sure and get registered. Be sure and get those hotel rooms. You want to be there. You don't want to miss it. And, we all plan on dressing. We've got some suggestions for things, but we've got like hats and gloves days, and it's just going to be so much fun. We look forward to seeing you all there. And now over to Miss Hazel and Miss Carolyn, our co-chairs, to send us on out with our marching orders.
Go ahead, Hazel.
Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you for the committee. You did a fabulous job. Our tech team, we love you. We couldn't have done it without you. And all of you, get to work. We can win. We are women who are all about working, wellness. And when we work, we win. Have a wonderful day, and thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Christina.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Hazel.
Jenny.
Thanks you. It's always a pleasure working with you guys. Thank you so much for all. Share. It is going to be on YouTube tomorrow. Share that information. I know you're already working. I know many of you. I think what I really want to do too is give a shout out to our chair, because she's going to need all our love for our upcoming convention, Audrey Dempsey. We are here to help and support you. We know we're going to have a fabulous time in June. And those of you, become a member. So become a member and join us in Las Vegas. Until then, stay blessed.
Anna.